Hey there. Welcome back to these conversations with no one, where I attempt to share my experience of living in a state of somewhat non-identification with my character and duality. This is the third conversation where I share the in-the-moment experiences of my character and how things process these days in real time. And I have to say that this month has been a very long one for me and has really tested my sense of peace and equanimity, probably more than it's been tested for a few years. In past conversations, I've spoken about how my days usually unfold at a slow pace as I engage the world only as in the timing that my character feels ready to. How in general my life has slowed down and simplified and in a way that gives me the time and space to pay attention to how my character is feeling and how he wants to navigate his day and his experience, and that really helps create a life that flows in a more calm and easy way. But this month, I had the opportunity to help someone in a way that could transform their life and enable them to start fresh from a place of empowerment. So I temporarily gave up what my character preferred in order to add value in a meaningful way. This, for me, is what life is all about. And so the decision to help in any way I could was an easy one. But what I didn't know, we can never know what's going to happen, was that events would continue to evolve in ways that required my character to put all of his preferences aside pretty much continually for about a month. And towards the end I realized that was becoming more of a challenge than I thought it would. My sense of peace and balance hasn't been challenged in quite a long time, so maybe I was a little arrogant. I've been in other situations that did the same and for longer periods of time, but I think in those cases, things that happened to me where I didn't have a choice in the matter. The choice was taken away, and I couldn't do anything else but make the best of a difficult situation. I was challenged in the same way at those times and struggled then as well. But this time, I think it became really clear to me how much my sense of equanimity comes from my character's ability. Hello, you don't say. So how much of my equanimity comes from my ability to care for myself, or my character's ability to care for himself when it comes to my time and space. So yeah, it became clear that a lot more of it came from that than from my character's or the non-identification with my character. I guess I would say that I'm now very much aware of how much identification I still experience and how that identification can still cause my character to suffer. Something I've done very little of for years, despite challenging or otherwise difficult situations. I've never claimed to be free of identification entirely because I'm aware that we can't ever escape the human experience until we experience death. And until then, we're pretty much subject to the biological reality of this body we're experiencing. My journey through layers of non-identification has never been something I pursued as a goal. More of a slow, natural shedding process that appears might continue as long as I experience life. And I'm in no rush to reach any sort of goal or achievement. But I was a little disappointed that towards the end of my month of service to others, I was suffering. I observed my character struggle, and I wasn't as happy to be going along for that ride. As my mind and body became more exhausted, I actually became cranky and sometimes unkind. And I didn't appreciate how that felt to behave that way. Now I've finally come out the other side of that situation. My friend that I helped found her feet, some independence, and is actively creating positive opportunities in her life, which has led to some more positive opportunities in my life. And day-to-day life at the moment is more rich with experience, enjoyable experience, than it has been for a while. So it was good work. I never doubted or resented the time and energy I gave to her, and never felt like it wasn't important work to be doing. But the relief my character feels right now is worth some serious consideration. Ideally, there would be no suffering on my part, no difference in my internal experience based on external events. But there was, and now I get the opportunity to examine, learn what that means. I look forward to processing all that I felt as I get a little more distant from the situation, and we'll be interested to see if that leads to more layers of identification falling away. But I sort of suspect the reality might be that my body will always have the capability of influencing my experience. And it's most likely an important and inescapable part of the duality experience. So despite this low-grade suffering I experienced, I'm well aware it was only a minor disruption, which mostly affected external behavior. But as I continued taking authentic action, it didn't stop me from taking appropriate action at all times, which I appreciate. And I mean, that tells me that my low-grade suffering was more like a superficial rain cloud passing through me rather than something that brought me back into identifying with the events and my feelings about them. I appreciate I was able to acknowledge these feelings and behaviors as they happened, communicate them, and that I was able to let them be what they were without trying to suppress or subvert them. There were no attempts to present myself as some wise, unflappable saint or martyr, as I might have been inclined to in the past. And in general, I'm grateful for these situations that challenge my equilibrium, as they show me the places where I'm still attached and identify with things I don't necessarily need to. These times keep me humble and remind me that I'm still on this journey rather than having reached a destination that only exists in imagination. Anyway, I guess that's it for today. Till I process some more. Thanks for joining me in this beautiful spot. And talk to you again soon. Take care.